the coalition has accused Labor of giving public servants, quote, a blank cheque not to be in the office, following revelations more than, you just can't believe this, 1 in 4 people at the Home Affairs Department are only heading into the office 1 or 2 days a week. Also, 50-cent public transport fares. Now, I talked to Campbell Newman about this last week. It might send Queensland broke. It's smashing the budget there. Well, the Greens, the federal Greens, Adam Bant and his mates, they want to make the scheme nationwide. Now, as a user of trams in Melbourne, I can tell you that would be a penalty for commuters, because whenever I get on a tram, hardly anyone under the age of 30 actually pays. Joining me now is former Queensland Premier Campbell Newman. Great to catch up. Let's talk public servants. 27% of the department's employees have arrangements in place to work from home 3 or 4 or more days a week. This is federal. That's extraordinary. I mean, we've got state governments demanding people go back to the office, but in the federal sphere, they're allowed to keep working at home as if COVID's still there.
Look, it is ridiculous, mate. How can you have a productive, efficient public service where people collaborate properly in teams and actually do get work done effectively when you're running in that way? Bluntly, it's a rort. It should stop. And the government should be ordering people back to work. And by the way, we do have too many public servants in this nation right now. And a way of getting a headcount reduction might be to say, well, you've got to get back to work, otherwise don't come Monday, no job. So
that sounds like a good policy.
That's what I was. Well, that's what I'd do if I was king. If I was king for a day, mate, that's what I'd be doing. Certainly, I'd be demanding if I was Premier David Crisafulli.
Yeah, well, you know, and I think Peter Dutton could do worse than to bring that up as a policy himself. Let's talk about this 50-cent fares on public transport. It's been introduced in Queensland. It was a Labor policy during the election campaign, and David Crisafulli's kept it. The Greens now want this to go national across the country. It'd be a massive cost. But the point I make there, I don't know about in other jurisdictions, but in Melbourne, when you get on and off a tram, there's no gate for you to go through. You don't have to tap anything. You just get on, and you're supposed to tap your useless myki on a machine, and that's how you pay for your trip. I ride trams around all the time. I see nobody paying. So I don't know what the Greens are on about.
Well, sounds like Melbourne's got a very specific problem there. Perhaps it's happening on the light rail in Sydney as well. But look, this is a crazy policy. Just to give you as a bit of a feel, the public transport subsidy for every trip in southeast Queensland was multiples of tens of dollars, right? That was prior to this so-called initiative being brought in by the former Labor government, then kept by the LNP. Tens of dollars. It might have been $40 or $50 per trip. And they were recovering, an amount of money before, and now it's dropped to almost a negligent amount. And meanwhile, they're maintaining the billing and fare collection systems. Look, there's no doubt that it's good to have affordable public transport fares. My belief was that the fares in southeast Queensland were too high compared to, say, the Sydney metro area, but this was an extreme measure, and it's just ridiculous. It's not sustainable. At the end of the day, it is actually paid for by all of us through the tax burden that we all bear overall. So the idea of it going national is a pretty bad idea. I accept ideas about getting cars off the road, all that sort of stuff, but fares of $3 or $4 for the average trip are fair and reasonable, no pun intended. 50 cents, just not sustainable.
In your experiences, have got cars off the roads? Is public transport in Queensland now packed with people? I mean, has anyone done the numbers on what it's actually done to patronage?
Look, I must say, Steve, I haven't seen the latest sort of information research on that. There was some released some months ago that indicated that we were seeing an upswing in public transport patronage, and that's a good thing, as I was saying before. But again, I don't think we needed to go to 50 cent, in other words, almost free, to get such a result. The fares were too high. By bringing them down to a sensible, affordable level, for people, I think you would have got a similar result without the gaping hemorrhaging of the finances in supporting the PT system.